if I'm allowed to swear. So, I try as best as I can to not feed it. And Stevie, she actually was, I don't want to give this treatment a bad name or anything, but they took her off her medication like almost cold turkey as she was doing this treatment called TMS, which is transcranial magnetic stimulation.
TMS. That stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation.
This is the magnet. And what happens is electricity runs through this magnet and it generates a magnetic field that's cone shaped. And so we're actually able to stimulate a part of the brain with a magnetic field.
And it's a magnet that moves stuff around in your brain.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
And so it's very intense, but there's a lot of people have done it, like Neil Brennan, who's a comedian. I don't know if
I was going to bring up Neil Brennan because we'll get into that later, but his stand-up piece on depression is brilliant.
Yeah, so he's always struggled with it. He's done TMS. Gary.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's another comedian, Gary Gallman. I don't know if he
Gary.
TMS or if he did like electro thing.
Wow.
And then I know a few other comics who have done TMS and have had good results. I think Neil Brennan had great results for a while, if I'm remembering correctly, but Stevie was doing TMS at the time of her suicide, like she was doing it. One of her last Instagram posts was of her with the magnet on her head, and she was like flirting with the guy in a really fun way and teasing and whatever.
Right.
And so I'm not blaming that on her, it was just odd timing, but she had been on Prozac. They took her off of Prozac quickly. Yeah. She was doing this TMS. So, you got
to wean off Prozac. You can't cold turkey that.
Right. So, yeah.
Would you ever do anything like that to your brain? I don't know if I would want to do the magnet thing to my brain.
It seems a little intense. I actually have a friend so I was fine for a while. I went through I lost my mom, and so I went into extreme.
God bless. Sorry.
Thank you. So I feel things very deeply, and some people grieve, they just grieve the way they grieve. I was very much in the depths of like despair. Sorry, not to like bring the show down. And so when my mom passed away, I wasn't on antidepressants, and I had to go on them after we lost her unexpectedly. And then I ended up getting into a relationship, and it was at the beginning, it was like my dream relationship, and it took me out of the depths of grief, and I felt like, oh my God, I can live again. I'm actually a person again, because for 2 years I was locked away, just like watching videos on like death and dying, and it was not good. And so I got into a relationship, and it was like, again, my like dream relationship. Went off my antidepressant. I was doing okay. I felt like pretty stable. And then we broke up a few months ago. And so that kind of sent me, downward, and it was like a necessary breakup, but that put me back on antidepressants. So sometimes I wonder, for me, is it circumstantial? Is it just chemical, or is it circumstantial? Because when I felt like I was in a great place in that relationship, all of a sudden I just had this lifting off, this 1,000 pounds lifted off my shoulders, because I was finding happiness in that person, and it was like a dream wish come true kind of thing. And so I fell back into it. Again, I kind of say, I don't know if I did TMS, I don't know if it would really work for me, because I don't know if it's a circumstantial thing right now or a chemical thing. I did do ketamine infusions. Have you ever heard of the ketamine treatments for depression?
I heard of it, but what is it exactly?
Well, ketamine is a party drug, basically. And they started in the early 80s testing like psychedelics and things like that to treat depression in small doses. So it's microdosing. And they found that there was some success there. So we talked about, like on my depression years ago, or on my podcast years ago, we did talk about microdosing and stuff. So it's been around now for probably 10-ish years.
Right.
It's now much more popular, but it's not really totally legal in most places, but ketamine is legal. And so ketamine it's not like it's not like a mushroom, it's man-made or whatever, but it's a party drug, but they do it in small doses. And
And are these prescribed, or you got to get these like?
well, you can get like a nasal spray, you can get, I think there's like a pill, but this specifically is a very intense treatment where it's intravenous. So you go in, they put it in your vein, you lay there for an hour and you get high, but it's a small enough dose that you don't get like so crazy high, but you get high. And it's supposed to basically almost, I guess, I'm not an expert at all, but it's supposed to almost like wipe your hard drive clean. So the visual would be, if you're looking at a ski mountain and there's curves, or there's grooves made in the snow, our thoughts all go down those same grooves. So the ketamine is supposed to like wipe those grooves clean so you can be like the neuroplasticity can do its thing, which is basically recarve new grooves so that your thoughts aren't all in that dark path that they're generally on.
Right. Yeah.
So some people say they have great success with it. I only did 4 treatments. You're supposed to do 6. And I stopped after 4 because I found out the place that I was going to was giving me very low doses compared to other places. And I felt like it was not the right place for me. It's very expensive. So spending all this money, and all of a sudden I find out, oh my God, my friend was getting, they do it based on weight, but like my friend started off at 65 milligrams. I started out at 25. She ended at like 85. I had only worked up to 35. I'm paying
Right.
the same or more. So I stopped, which was kind of a mistake because you're not really supposed to see effects until after the 6th treatment. So I wasted a lot of money only just doing 4. And so now I'm like, do I restart or do I not? I don't know if it's chemical. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
just substantial. So, but that's
It's
another option. But the TMS though is scary. I had a friend offer up, there's a clinical trial going on or something, and you have to qualify for it. But he sent me the information in the email to do it. And I'm like, I don't know if I can really take that step.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you have severe depression, and if you have like your really dark thoughts, or you can't get out of bed, or you can't function in life, maybe something like that, like putting the magnets and moving your things, your brain around and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the solution. But like I think for a lot of people who have you know, who have depression or anxiety or any of those type of issues, maybe regular, old school, Prozac, or, any of this was Zoloft and those types of things could do the trick. Look, with Prozac, I just remember feeling like I was underwater. Like I just was like, "Ooh," like, then I started feeling like people taking advantage of me because I was being so nice.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, whatever you want,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. 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 See, I've never felt that affected. And I've been on higher. I mean, they've been medium-ish doses, but I have gone higher up. And I don't know if I just have a tolerance or something, because I never felt nicer on Prozac. Maybe I'm just already so nice. I've
Yeah,
hit
there
the
you go.
top level of niceness. I can't go past it. But that's good for them. I'm sure people around you were like, no, keep taking it. They're shoving the pills down your
Yeah,
throat.
yeah. They were like, "Why you
Like
getting off of them?
candy.
What are you doing?"
Yeah. Yeah. So when did you go off of it, or when did you stop having to kind of struggle with it?
Well, I was struggling with it, and for me too, it was depression, it was sadness, and it was also I would have outbursts, like anger, like if
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
crossed me up, "What are you doing?"
It does help with that. It does.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely helped with that, and
Yeah.
then also just growing, evolving, and kind of helped me deal with that stuff, like road rage, for instance. I'll drive in the middle lane. I won't drive in the left lane, because then if somebody comes up my butt or whatever, so it's like, all right, I'll just avoid all of that. Just drive in the middle lane, and that's kind of my mantra. Like, I'll just drive
But
in
you
the
do
middle
that
lane.
now?
Yeah, still to this day, I'll
So
just
you're giving other people road rage? So you don't get road rage? If
no,
I see
no,
you drive
I'll
down-
just drive in the middle lane. I'll stay with the traffic, with the flow of
Oh, the
traffic.
middle lane. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I
yeah.
was thinking you meant like over line, like you would drive within the 2 lanes.
Oh,
Like,
no, no, I'm
I was like,
like
what an
this.
asshole.
That would be a real asshole thing.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a 3-lane highway, let's say,
Yeah.
instead of there's the passing lane,
Yep.
and there's the
Yep.
I would just stay right in the middle lane, just drive speed limit or whatever, and just
Yeah.
kind of coast with the flow of traffic,
Yeah.
instead of being in the fast lane where all the maniacs are. And then, because that's what would trigger road rage, would be if someone's up my butt,
Right. You
or
get
or
worked
they're
up.
going
Yeah.
too slow and I'm trying to go fast. So that was one of the ways I coped in that kind of thinking of, all right, I'm just gonna, okay, so this guy cut me in line. Yeah.
Right. I'm just going to breathe and I'm not going to
Right.
engage.